Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm doing some ledge fishing. It is a hot one today though. It is end of July. Heat index is gonna get like the 110 today. Average high I think is supposed to be 103 to like 106 all over Oklahoma, different reports, but it's supposed to be hot regardless. Water temperature sitting around 88 right now, and it's 9 a.m. So it's gonna be hot, but I wanna show you even on the hottest days can be some of the best fishing. Alright guys, I've never been to this lake before. This is a new lake to me. It just set up really well. I didn't want to take you to a lake and just say, oh, you know, this is where I caught them before, here's a spot, and you know, show me catching them or whatever. I've never been to this lake before. It just set up really well in my opinion. It has lots of creeks that come out and touch the main channel, and like every lake does, but these are really defined, and on those breaks, they're up in like 15 foot of water, even shallower at some points, right out in kind of the mid-lake area where just, in my mind, it sets up really well for ledge fishing. Kind of my opinion on it is, if you think of it like, say your air conditioning goes out in your house and you have it like a temporary AC, you put that in one room, you kind of close the door and you all kind of huddle in there to stay cool. Well, think about that on lakes during the summer. When it gets really hot like this, the oxygen goes down, the water temps get hot, those bass get uncomfortable up shallow or in those creeks. So what happens, in my opinion, AC goes out, they all kind of go out to those ledges where those oxygen is and the cooler water is, and they're all kind of grouped up. So even though it's a really high temperatures today, the water temperatures are high, you can still find those groups of bass, and if you can get into them, you can catch one after another, and usually pretty good ones. So hopefully we can catch some today. Gonna try hard and hopefully give you guys something to look forward to, and something you can do on your own lakes. All right, I'm out here on this main lake spot, and this spot just looks good to me. It looks good on the map, and it just looks good when I'm out here on the water. There's not much wind right now. It's fairly early, and this is kind of the most open, so any breeze or current that we have kind of pushes the most across this point. Back behind me there's a couple good ones, but they're kind of on the inside of that turn, and shad busting right up on top right now, inside of that turn, and I'm not seeing, you know, as much current or, you know, wake pushing through there. Hopefully the wind's supposed to pick up later today, but as I'm showing you on my graph, you can kind of see where that point comes out pretty deep, and there's kind of like a little point off of that, kind of a point on a point that turns out and touches that main lake channel where it drops off into, you know, 60 foot or so. In my opinion, that's a pretty good ideal spot. I'm sure it gets fished a lot. It sets up on a map like a community hole, but doesn't mean there's not fish on it. It's summer. There's not a lot of boats out here today because it is so hot. So we're gonna anyways get up here, and I saw some shad busting, so we're gonna get up here and you know, throw some different baits and see what we can make happen. If not, we'll move to the next spot and kind of on a rotation. Typically, I couldn't find any reports on when they released water on this lake, but typically they start around 11 to noonish, and they'll, you know, release for a couple hours, maybe, probably not a lot, but it maybe be enough to move those fish up. So I wasn't worried about getting out here real early, even though it is hot, but we're gonna see what happens, and regardless, stay positive, because you know, midday, you never know when it can happen. Once it happens, it can happen in a flurry, and you know, you're catching them one after another for a little while. So anyways, we're gonna get up here and make some casts and see what we can make happen.
nice one there. About 5 pounds. Pounder. Oh, it's probably, I don't know, 3.5. So again, here's what I've been throwing to. I've been mainly casting across the tip of that point to the top of my graph there, and then a little bit over to the left side there on that other point, but mainly the one that kind of branches off. Casting across it is where I got the little flurry happened. I'm gonna move now. Spot's kind of died. I'm guessing they shifted off in deeper water. I've been seeing a little bit in deeper water. I'm gonna drive around and just kind of see where in the water level they are, and then probably go back and hit that other spot I marked and see if they're still there, if there's anything there. See if we can get them going again. It's getting pretty warm out here, but if we can get some wind to pick back up, I don't know why the wind just died completely. Didn't think it was supposed to do that today, but get some wind to pick up, we could be in good shape. But we'll see. We'll keep going at it. All right, I'm pulling out to this other spot. It was a little hump off the ledge, just on top of it's about 13 foot, and on the sides, you know, it just a little hump on the top of the ledge. And I saw some fish sitting up there. Not very many. I don't know how big they are, but where I'm just gonna try it and then jump to another point before I head back to the other one. Good guy. 660. Alright, I only can manage one off this spot, then I move back to my original spot where I cut the others. And nothing there, so I'm just gonna kind of graph around and look on this whole little point and see if I can find anything. I mean, there's no wind, so I don't know if I'll disturb them if I go over them, but we're gonna go and see if we can find anything, mark them, and cast to them for a little while. So I threw my buoy out about 65 foot. Hopefully I should be able to hit them. Alright, let this spot breathe a little bit. Come back. Wind's died. Before I left, I marked quite a few fish just off the break. They were suspended. Should make them a little bit harder to get off the break. If they move up on top, though, that could happen at any point. We could be catching them again. This has been our best bed. I was at the other spot for a while and marked a bunch of fish, and there's shad around me. I just couldn't get anything to bite, but again, it's all a timing deal, so you never know. Right now, because the fish are off the break, I've just been fishing the spoon and the hair jig the most, which I've gotten bit on, so I have a little more confidence today in those. Also, when those fish are off the break like that, you kind of got to trigger them a little bit more, and that stuff kind of shooting over their head and dropping triggers them. Crankbait as well, but it's so calm out here for a crankbait. I caught a couple earlier off crankbait, but right now I don't know if I feel confident in it. So I did this time with my marker buoy. I marked those spots before I left the last time. So when I came back, since my graphs aren't linked, I got out of my casting ring about 35 feet. I also have markers over a little guide thing to when I get close to a waypoint, it tells me the feet. I got within the 65 feet, about 20 yards-ish, to the waypoint where I could cast hopefully over them quite a ways where I can bring it back over the top. So and then as I dropped it, I lined my little navigation arrow up on the point over here. Basically, is where my line up, and they're in between, and that was not a good cast for where I want to go. There's a good one. Good one. There. A few seconds from coming off. Nice 3-pounder. See? Good fish. Throw him back. Here's a good one. Big old bass. I think he was hooked or something. It's a nice one. Real nice. I'd say that's a 5. Let him go and get back in there. So probably 5 minutes apart. got those 2 bites. I switched to a hair jig because I wasn't getting bit on the spoon after catching that one. I might have to switch back to the spoon now. But basically, I'm throwing this hair jig. It's a 3/4 ounce hair jig, and I did 2 retrieves. I did one where I was reeling it real fast and let it die, reeling real fast and let it die, and then I did one where I just pop it, and I was actually popping it, and I had it almost to the boat, and I taking a drink of water and let it sit there, and I just started reeling up real fast, and he grabbed it right as I was reeling up. I don't think he knew he was hooked until I got to the boat because he wasn't fighting at all. I wasn't really sure how big he was. So I moved out, or moved kind of closer to the bank, kind of throwing directly at that other point, and they were just right there on that drop, about 15 foot or 18 foot-ish, maybe even shallower than that. But you can see there, they were just kind of stacked up. So fortunately I have to go, but I would like to stay and catch some more, but we'll come back for another day. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you later.